Have you ever wondered why some people seem to grow continuously while others stay stuck in the same place? Why some manage to turn discipline into wealth while others let opportunities slip through their fingers? What separates those who live by design from those who live by default? If you've asked yourself these questions, you're in the right place. Today, we'll uncover Jim Rohn's timeless laws of success, principles that govern growth, discipline, and wealth. And before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on more wisdom that can transform your life. 1. The law of sowing and reaping. Life, in its most fundamental form, is agricultural. Everything you see, everything you touch, every result you experience, it is all part of a harvest that was once planted as a seed. You cannot reap corn if you sowed wheat. You cannot expect an orchard of abundance if all you planted were weeds of neglect. This is why Jim Rohn often reminded us that life is not mysterious, it is logical. If you put in the right inputs, the right outputs will eventually come. But if you plant laziness, procrastination, excuses, and avoidance, then your harvest will reflect that same poverty of effort. The harvest does not lie. It simply gives back to you what you gave to it. Some people complain about their lack of results, but the truth is, the soil is never to blame. The soil is neutral, ready to multiply whatever is planted. It is the planter, the choices you make each day, that determines the outcome of the harvest. Rohn would say, you can't change the seasons, but you can change the seeds you plant. The seasons of life come for everyone. Winter will arrive whether you are prepared or not. Summer will come with opportunities, but if you are not ready to seize them, they will pass you by. Autumn will reveal your harvest, and in that moment, there will be no more time to sow. You cannot plant in October and reap in November if you neglected the months before. That is why the farmer does not cry about the snow. He does not beg for the sun to shine a little longer. He accepts that the seasons are beyond his control and focuses instead on what he can control: his labor, his preparation, his willingness to endure. The same is true for us. Life will hand us winters of difficulty, economic downturns, personal setbacks, relationships that fail, opportunities that close. We cannot stop these seasons from arriving, but just like the farmer, we can prepare. We can plant seeds of knowledge, persistence, discipline, and good character. Then, when winter tests us, we are not broken. We are simply refined. Those who complain about their lack of harvest are often those who never truly sowed with intention. They scattered a few seeds here and there, hoping for luck, instead of planting daily with discipline. Success is never accidental. It is cultivated. Think of your habits as seeds. Each time you choose discipline over laziness, you plant a seed of strength. Each time you read instead of wasting hours on distractions, you plant a seed of wisdom. Each time you show kindness, you plant a seed of relationships. Over time, the field grows, and when harvest comes, you do not reap just one seed, you reap multiplied returns. That is the great promise of sowing. You always reap more than you sowed. A single seed becomes many stalks. A single act of discipline becomes a lifetime of character. But the reverse is also true. Neglect multiplies. Excuses multiply. Bad habits multiply. So, ask yourself daily, what seeds am I planting? If you do not like the harvest you are experiencing, the answer is not to curse the soil, the weather, or the economy. The answer is to sow better seeds. That is the essence of Jim Rohn's teaching. Take responsibility for your garden. Work the land of your life with diligence, and life itself will reward you in its season. The harvest cannot be cheated. The law of sowing and reaping guarantees that you will get exactly what you plant, multiplied many times over. You don't get what you want, you get what you plant. Sow better every day, and the harvest will take care of itself. 2. The law of averages. Success in life is not about perfection. It is about persistence, consistency, and endurance. The law of averages is one of the most liberating truths you can learn. It tells you that if you try often enough, eventually you will succeed. You may not win every time. In fact, you may lose more often than you win. But the more attempts you make, the more the averages begin to shift in your favor. This law removes the burden of needing to be flawless. You don't have to get it right every time. You just need to stay in the game long enough for probability to reward your persistence. Jim Rohn loved to illustrate this principle with the story of a salesperson. A salesperson might make 10 calls and only get 1 yes. At first glance, 9 failures and 1 success may feel discouraging, but the law of averages reframes the situation. If 1 out of 10 calls results in a sale, then every no is not a failure. It is part of the journey toward the next yes. That means each no has value. It means that the rejections, instead of being setbacks, are actually stepping stones. The wise salesperson understands this and does not quit after a string of no's. They keep dialing, knowing that the law of averages is quietly at work in their favor. Think about how this applies to every aspect of life. If you are trying to build friendships, you may not connect deeply with everyone you meet. But if you keep showing up, keep introducing yourself, keep adding value, eventually you will form lasting relationships. If you're learning a new skill, you will not master it in your first attempt. But if you practice consistently, mistakes included, your averages improve over time until success becomes inevitable. The law rewards consistency, not luck. This law also teaches us resilience. Too many people quit too soon. They stop after 3 rejections, forgetting that the yes might have been waiting on the 4th attempt. They give up on their dream because the first effort didn't work, not realizing that the averages were still playing out. Success, in this sense, is often a test of endurance. The question is not whether opportunities exist. The question is whether you will last long enough to encounter them. The law of averages is also a cure for fear. Fear whispers, "What if I fail?" But the law replies, "Of course you will fail sometimes. That's part of the process. But keep going and the odds will eventually turn in your favor." It allows you to detach your self-worth from any single outcome. One failure is not final, and one rejection does not define you. The averages remind you that success is a matter of numbers, effort, and consistency, not perfection. So, what should you do? Keep knocking, keep trying, keep sowing efforts, because sooner or later the law will tip in your favor. If it takes 10 tries to succeed, then every failure is not wasted. It is simply a fraction of the journey completed. Jim Rohn put it beautifully. If you want more success, just keep trying more often. You don't need to control outcomes. You need to control your input. The averages will take care of the rest. Once you understand this law, rejection no longer paralyzes you. It empowers you. Because now you know, every no is just moving you closer to the inevitable yes. Don't stop at the first no. Keep going, because persistence always beats the odds in the end.
3. The law of discipline. Discipline is the bridge between imagination and reality. Without discipline, even the grandest dreams remain nothing more than fantasies. With discipline, even the most ordinary individuals accomplish extraordinary feats. Discipline is the quiet, consistent force that transforms potential into achievement. Jim Rohn often said that the formula for success is simple. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. The meaning is profound. The small daily choices to stay disciplined may feel heavy in the moment, but they are nothing compared to the crushing weight of a life filled with regret over missed opportunities, wasted time, and neglected potential. What is discipline? It is doing what you should do when you should do it, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Feelings are fleeting. They change with the weather, with moods, with circumstances. But discipline does not ask for your feelings, it asks for your commitment. You may not feel like exercising, but discipline takes you to the gym anyway. You may not feel like studying, but discipline sits you down with the book. You may not feel like saving money, but discipline makes the deposit. In the end, the results are not given to the one who feels motivated. They are given to the one who practiced discipline when motivation faded. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds. One disciplined action, repeated consistently, becomes a habit. That habit then becomes character, and character ultimately shapes destiny. For example, waking up early one day may not change your life, but waking up early every day for years creates a foundation of time, productivity, and consistency that changes everything. Just as water cuts through stone not by power but by persistence, discipline reshapes the course of your life one small act at a time. Discipline also creates freedom. This sounds paradoxical, but it is deeply true. The disciplined person has more freedom than the undisciplined. Why? Because discipline builds control. When you control your time, your money, your health, and your habits, you are free to live without being enslaved by bad choices. The undisciplined person is bound by their impulses. They spend impulsively and suffer financial stress. They eat impulsively and suffer poor health. They procrastinate impulsively and suffer lost opportunities. But the disciplined person, by willingly accepting short-term restrictions, enjoys long-term liberation. Jim Rohn also reminded us that discipline is available to everyone. You don't have to be special. You don't have to be born talented. Discipline is a choice, a practice, a decision repeated daily. The great people of history were not superhuman. They simply had the discipline to do what others would not. That is why success is within reach of anyone willing to pay the price of consistent effort. The tragedy is that many people choose the pain of regret over the pain of discipline, not realizing until later that the cost of neglect is far greater than the cost of diligence. So what should we do? Start small. Choose one area of your life where you need more discipline and commit to daily practice. Do not wait for motivation. Create routines that make discipline automatic. Over time, the weight of discipline becomes lighter, while the weight of regret grows unbearable for those who neglect it. Remember, the bridge to your goals is not built in a day. It is built daily, with bricks of discipline laid one after another. If you stay the course, your dreams will no longer be dreams. They will become your reality, carried across the bridge that only discipline can build. Discipline is the price of success, but it costs far less than the pain of regret.
4. The law of value. Success doesn't come from what you get. It comes from the value you give. The marketplace rewards those who provide solutions, innovation, and service. If you want more, you must first become more. In life and business, value is the currency that never loses power. People are not paid simply for showing up or existing. They are paid because they provide something that others need or desire. A doctor is compensated not for holding a medical degree, but for healing, relieving pain, and saving lives. A teacher is rewarded not just for lecturing, but for shaping minds and helping students unlock potential. The baker is not paid merely for flour and sugar, but for the joy and nourishment their bread brings to others. Everywhere you look, compensation is tied to contribution. If you want your income, opportunities, and influence to grow, the surest path is to increase the quality and quantity of value you deliver to others. The truth is, mediocrity is never truly rewarded in the long run. The marketplace is unforgiving to stagnation because people naturally gravitate toward excellence, innovation, and reliability. Think of companies like Apple, Tesla, or Amazon. Their financial success is not an accident. They created ecosystems of value by solving problems in ways others could not or would not. Apple didn't just sell phones. It sold design, simplicity, and prestige. Tesla didn't just build cars. It redefined what sustainable transportation could be. Amazon didn't just sell products. It redefined convenience and customer service on a global scale. The money followed because the value came first. Your income is rarely greater than the value you bring to others. That's why self-development is so critical. When you grow your skills, your mindset, and your character, you increase your worth, and the world naturally rewards you for that growth. The mistake many make is thinking money should come before growth. But in reality, money flows toward competence, creativity, and character. If a person wants to earn more, they must first become more. This doesn't just mean learning technical skills. It also means cultivating emotional intelligence, discipline, reliability, and resilience. Employers, clients, and even friends and family value people who can be trusted, who solve problems instead of creating them, and who elevate others around them. When you become that kind of person, doors open naturally, and opportunities seem to find you. Growth magnetizes reward. Self-development, then, is not optional. It is the foundation of the law of value. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every time you push yourself outside your comfort zone, you are raising your internal stock price. You are making yourself indispensable. And just as companies that innovate thrive while those that stagnate fade into irrelevance, individuals who grow are always in demand, while those who remain the same are often left behind. Value is dynamic, not static. Either you are increasing it or it is decreasing. Ultimately, the law of value teaches us a simple truth. The more people you serve and the better you serve them, the more the world rewards you. If you want to build wealth, influence, or legacy, the path is not in chasing money, but in chasing mastery and contribution. Become more valuable, and success will chase you.
5. The law of wealth creation. Wealth is not built overnight. It is created through habits, discipline, and wise choices over time. Jim Rohn said, "Become a millionaire, not for the money, but for what it will make of you to achieve it." Many people chase quick riches, but history shows us that enduring wealth is always the result of steady, disciplined effort. Lottery winners often lose everything within a few years because they did not develop the mindset or skills required to manage money. On the other hand, self-made millionaires and billionaires almost universally emphasize the long game, saving, investing, building businesses, and compounding their resources over decades. The truth is that true wealth is not about luck, it is about structure. It is about living below your means, avoiding unnecessary debt, and using every resource, time, money, knowledge, strategically, so that it multiplies instead of evaporating. Wealth is not built in a day, but it is built daily through consistent choices. Wealth is a reflection of responsibility, of learning how to multiply your resources instead of wasting them. It's about stewardship, using your time, talents, and money wisely so they produce more. The true goal isn't just to make money, but to become the kind of person who can create, keep, and grow wealth consistently. This principle separates those who merely earn from those who build. Earning money can happen through luck, circumstance, or temporary opportunity, but building wealth requires responsibility and foresight. A wealthy mindset treats money as a seed, not a fruit. When you eat the seed, it is gone forever. But when you plant it, nurture it, and allow time to do its work, it grows into a tree that produces fruit year after year. Wealth creators understand the difference between consumption and investment. They delay gratification today for freedom tomorrow. They trade impulse for discipline, short-term pleasure for long-term prosperity. Stewardship also extends beyond money. Wealth creation involves how you manage your time, your health, your relationships, and your talents. A person who squanders hours scrolling through distractions is as poor in time as one who wastes money on frivolities. Someone who neglects their health may accumulate riches, but eventually pay the price in hospital bills or lost vitality. A wise steward builds wealth holistically, financially, physically, mentally, and relationally. Because true wealth is not just a number in a bank account. It is the freedom, energy, and legacy you create with your resources. Jim Rohn's wisdom strikes at the core. The true reward of wealth creation is not the money itself, but the transformation required to attain it. In the process of becoming a disciplined investor, a consistent learner, and a wise decision-maker, you develop habits of character that serve you in all areas of life. You become more strategic, more patient, more responsible, and more resilient. The wealth you build externally is simply a reflection of the wealth you built internally. Therefore, the law of wealth creation is less about chasing riches and more about becoming a steward of value. If you cultivate good financial habits, exercise discipline, and treat resources as seeds to be multiplied rather than consumed, wealth will not be an accident, it will be inevitable. And more importantly, you will not just have wealth, you will have become a person capable of sustaining and multiplying it no matter what life throws at you.
So here's the truth. These laws are not optional. They are always in motion, whether you follow them consciously or not. The law of sowing and reaping, the law of averages, the law of discipline, the law of value, and the law of wealth creation. Together, they form a framework that can change your life if you commit to them. Now, the question is, are you ready to stop drifting and start living by design? If you are, hit that subscribe button and let's keep walking this journey of growth and success together. Remember, success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become.